Welcome to Don't You Two Read, a podcast where two sisters talk about all things books.
We're just two girls who found ourselves texting about books on a daily basis and thought, why not turn on a mic?
We'll be talking about our recent reads, a weekly bookish topic, and what we're looking forward to reading next.
So grab a cup of coffee and maybe even a snack and be prepared to take down your TBR and add a lot to it as we talk all things books.
I'm Hilary, a mom in Oklahoma, and I have tea to spill.
Ooh. And I'm Hannah, a stay-at-home mom in Texas, and I am fully in my fantasy era.
This is episode 35, and hi, we're so glad that you're here. Today, we're going to go over some recent reads, and then our topic of the week is like a game. We're just doing something silly and low-key. We're doing bookish Would You Rather. And Hannah, got a whole bunch of suggestions from people on Instagram. So I read some of them. I didn't read all of them because I wanted to be more on the
Surprise.
spot. Yeah. And I added a couple of my own just in case we had time. So I'm excited to do that. And then we have the short list at the end. So yeah, an exciting, fun podcast day. But Hannah, how are you? How's your reading? I know,
Uh,
I know just probably like every other parent right now is just going through it.
yeah, so both of my kids are sick, and one of them has been sick for a week. Like, we've passed the week already. So, yeah, it's been a doozy. However, this is a perfect example. I have been reading a lot because my youngest woke up several times at night and then I could not fall asleep. So, yeah, I've read so much is my point. Like, I'm embarrassed a little bit how much I have read just this week. But it's been really good for the most part. I've had some good reads, and I'm bringing two of them today. So, I'm excited. How about you?
Good. I think everyone in like the South and Midwest, I shouldn't say South. I think Oklahoma's as South as it is, and Arkansas maybe, but we're all going through the winter ice storm, and so
Oh,
my
yeah.
my kid is home and is going to be home for the foreseeable future. We're just like homeschooling right now. I've had several people message me like, "Oh my gosh, you're homeschooling? Tell me everything." I'm like, "Oh no, no, no." Like I am, but we're not. Like I am homeschooling right now, but
You're like, not
not
by choice.
not permanently, but it feels permanent right now, as I'm sure a lot I've seen a lot of people been sharing like, "Oh my God, the
Yeah.
kids are home from school." So
Yeah.
I haven't read. I read a little bit, finished a book this morning, and then as soon as I was like on the last 10 pages, I heard Noelle's door like, "Ee!" I'm like, "Oh no." So I did finish it, but because I was like, "Hey, I have 9 pages left. Let me finish this book." But other than that, I haven't, I've just been her slave, it feels like. So finally I was like, "You know what? I'm done. You're with dad now." So yeah, we're going through it, but we're gonna make it through. We'll make it.
Yeah, I mean, I guess, do you run out of school days? Is that why you have to do it from home at this point? Or you run out of snow days?
Yeah, I mean, we've been out of snow days. They've already added on time to the school year for the whole
I
year now.
I think that that is common. I feel like, again, yeah, it seems like a lot of people have been
They
getting
don't
that
they
weather.
don't budget for them anymore, I think, because they have virtual days now. Where like when we were in school, it was just like, "Oh well, you don't have school." But
Mm,
now they like send home packets and we've had
yeah.
a lot of snow days. We've had tornado days. I mean, it's just been a wild weather. So anyway, it's fine. It'll all come back and it'll be okay. But I am bringing the book I finished today because I wanted to get to it in time. Okay, so what's your first read?
For my first book that I am bringing One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. This was
Oh,
my
yay.
book club pick for the month, and it was also on my short list, so it was a double win for me. So let's just get into it. So I'm reading the synopsis from Goodreads. Here we go. Elspeth needs a monster. The monster might be her. Elspeth Spindle needs more than luck to stay safe in the eerie, mist-locked kingdom of Blunder. She needs a monster. She calls him the Nightmare, an ancient, mercurial spirit trapped in her head. He protects her, he keeps her secrets. But nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman on the forest road, her life takes a drastic turn. Thrust into a world of shadow and deception, she joins a dangerous quest to cure Blunder from the dark magic infecting it. And the highwayman, he just so happens to be the king's nephew, captain of the most dangerous men in Blunder, and he is guilty of high treason. Together, they must gather 12 Providence cards, the keys to the cure. But as the stakes heighten and their undeniable attraction intensifies, Elspeth is forced to face her darkest secret yet. The nightmare is slowly taking over her mind, and she might not be able to stop him. Okay, so this book, I picked it up specifically because of book club. And this was not one I would have ever picked up. I had heard it all about this book. So I had heard it all. However, I had not heard the synopsis. So I did not know what it was about. I just knew the hearsay. And I had heard people say, oh, this book is creepy. This book is scary. This book is horror. It's demonic, like monster romance. I have heard all the things that all the things that would make me personally think, I don't think that's for me. So when book club picked it, I did know Hilary had DNF'd it and then she finished it because I think your book club picked it, right? Too?
Yeah. Hmm.
So weird. So her book club picked this too, like I guess a few months ago. And so Hillary was like, no, I mean, Hillary kind of gave me like the green light. Like it's not creepy. It's not demonic. I will say that.
Yeah, I said
So,
I really liked it. I did not know if Hannah would like it because
yes.
of what everyone was saying. Like a lot of people were like, they did not like the monster and it creeped a lot of people out. And so it's funny because I was one of the first ones to read it and I was like, y'all know I DNF'd it because I just was like in a really stressful time and I
Hmm.
couldn't get through. I thought the beginning was kind of slow. And so I just couldn't get, or I shouldn't say slow. It wasn't slow. There was a lot of information and it was confusing. And so
Yeah.
I just was like, forget it. I'll look at this later. And so it came up for book club and then I was like one of the first ones. Um, and I was like, "Oh, I loved it." Like, I got through it and I was like, "I love this book." Like, it wasn't on my top 10 for the year, but it was like up there. And then
Hmm.
all the other people started coming in and were like, "This is evil. This is evil. I'm not going to let it into my heart." I'm like, "Oh no, I didn't feel like that at all. I didn't pick up on that." But then I was worried that Hannah wouldn't like it. So I was
Okay.
unsure.
So okay, here's my take on it. So I feel like at this point I can say that I read a lot of fantasy. I in the past used to be like, "Oh, well, I don't know if my opinion like I don't know if I've read enough fantasy to know." I feel like at this point I've read a lot of fantasy. So I feel like I can handle complicated names. I feel like I can handle like I have a higher tolerance, I think, because I read fantasy often. So like complicated names, places, things that are not familiar. I get it. World building, I know that that takes time to get invested. I will say this one to me personally was another level. I had to force myself to keep on reading it in the beginning. And again, I really pushed through because of book club, but I did post on my Instagram about this and I was like, I'm really struggling, guys. And I will say, I got a flood of DMs. I feel like I got more DMs about this book than I have ever gotten about any book before, which was wild. And everybody kept telling me the same thing. They're like, no, you're not far enough in. You have to keep reading. No, you're not. You can't stop now. You have to keep going. So I'm like, okay, okay. And I totally agree with that. So the beginning, like Hillary said, I do think it was slow. I felt like
Yeah, I guess
it felt
so.
slow. It felt extremely descriptive. It felt very poetic, which are neither
Mhm.
things that I love.
Mhm.
And there is the whole magic world building. There are cards and colors and lights and like you're not going to know what that means. I'm not going to explain it to you. That's part of the book and part of the journey. But it doesn't start clicking and falling into place until you're like 15-20%. So I would
Mhm.
say I don't force people to like finish. If you don't like a book, DNF, whatever. But I would personally say make it to 15-20% and then decide, because that was when everything started clicking. And at that time, like I was hooked and I was just like, okay, I'm convinced, I'm
Was it like
into
when
it.
Raven became a character?
Yes.
Yeah, that's when I was too. I was like, because
Yes.
she's kind of like I don't want to call her a loner. That means she's like a weirdo, but she's like very isolated, I think. Elspeth is
Yeah.
kind of isolated, withdrawn to herself, and so there's not like a lot of interaction with other people until
Hmm.
Raven, the main male character, comes along, and then she like that interaction. I was like, okay, like I'm here for this now.
And that's when you start getting answers. Like that's when you start, oh, you're like, okay, I see what's going on now. Like I've been confused, but I think it was purposeful. And that is part of it too. If I feel like it's slow or they've kept things from me on purpose, like to tell the story, I have lenience. I don't feel like it was the first 20% was useless. I think that we just didn't know on purpose. So I don't want to spoil anything, but I will just keep it vague. I really enjoyed it. The setting was dark, misty. I thought it was perfect for like a rainy day, perfect for fall, which is not the time of year now, but I loved those vibes. So
Winter's good still too.
yeah, that's true. I'm not in winter mode with my weather in Houston,
Oh
but
yeah.
most of the US is still.
Yeah.
There's mystery, there's intrigue, there's thrill, there's a little bit of romance. I wouldn't consider this scary or creepy. I have seen some people say they thought it was. I did not personally, like I did not get scared, I will say that.
And you would not say it is a demon, right? I know that was like a
No.
major turn off for some people that they
No,
thought
so
it was demonic possession.
I personally, I'm not your spiritual guide, but I did not feel like anything was demonic here. It was not a monster romance. It was not like demon,
Hmm.
what have you. There was one open door scene. I feel like it was vague, like probably like Heartless Hunter, if I remember correctly. Like it didn't feel like it was long, but do what you want to do. That's that. I really, really enjoyed it. So if you're looking for a great duology, and I did finish the both book two, so I would recommend it after reading both. Solid. I thought it was solid. So
Hmm.
if you're looking for a really, really interesting, unique fantasy that is a duology and it's not too long, try
Mm-mm.
this one. This is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig.
She has a new book coming out. I think her new duology. I don't know if it's a duology. It might be. It comes out this fall.
Ooh,
I know. It's just like the year. This is the year of all the good stuff.
yeah. I I really liked it. And now
Yeah.
after that I was like, well, I'm probably in a funk now.
Yeah, it was a
It's
good one. I
good.
agree too. It was controversial. I don't, it's weird how controversial that book was, but I really enjoyed it. Okay, so I'm going to talk about my book. And I told Hannah, like, we didn't start right away because I was like, I'm finishing up my reviews. Like, I actually worked really hard on these reviews today because I wanted to make sure I presented them. I'm trying to do better, guys, of what both sides of who these would work for or not. Okay, so my first book I'm going to talk about is The Rose Bargain. That's the book that I finished today. And that I believe, yes, it was. That book was on my like what was it called? Like most anticipated or whatever we were talking about
Mm-hmm.
books of the year. So this is by Sasha Peyton Smith, and here's what it's about. Now, this is an alternate universe. Think like similar to Divine Rivals, not the plot or anything like that, but we're talking about we're looking at London in the 1800s, but instead of a human queen, they have a fairy queen. So Queen Moore has reigned in London for hundreds of years at this point. So it's like our world, but a little bit
Mm.
different. So, this is a story about an 18-year-old adventurous girl named Ivy Benton. She is a heroine you'd like to see in romantasy novels, sassy, adventurous, and independent. Her older sister Lydia mysteriously goes missing for months and returns with zero memory of where she has been and is a shell of who she was before. Though Ivy is a second-born, now she must come out into society to try to find an acceptable suitor to help save her family's estate and titles. How can she do it? Obviously, it has to be through marriage. Surprisingly, this year, Queen Moore says that her son Bram will marry. And to find a wife, they will host a competition. 24 girls, one crown. Ivy is determined to help her sister and restore her family's social status, but in order to do so, she must make a bargain with the fairy queen. Some legends call her witch and others angel, but Ivy is soon to find out for herself. She needs to win the crown to save everything, but the competition is darker than she anticipated, and she keeps getting thrown into encounters with Bram's brother Emmett. Will Ivy win the crown and save her family from ruin? Okay, so I know that's a longer setup, and I was excited for the premise. I'm immediately drawn to bachelor type stories, for better or for worse. I did really enjoy some things like the premise and the banter. It started off really well, but it had parts I didn't love. I felt like the pacing was all over the place. I couldn't really connect with any of the characters because we kept moving around so fast, but not like too in detail about much. We had some attraction with the characters, but it suddenly felt like it turned into love way too quick, and I felt like I missed the lead up to being in love, if that makes sense. It was difficult to feel as emotionally attached and invested as the characters were. Also, I wasn't aware that this is the start of a series, so be aware that the ending isn't tidy. I doubt I'll read on in the future since I was very meh about this one. So, this is a mom note. I think this topic is worth discussing in a future episode, but this is very much marketed as YA. Like, the characters, I know that I said, that's why I said she's 18. So I know that's technically an adult, but we're talking about very young
Mm-hmm.
characters. And it's very much marketed as YA. But this was open door. It's not extremely graphic, but but the deed is done. This is how I said it. The deed is done, and we are told about body parts in other body parts and
Mm.
hands touching specific parts of the body. So, are there more graphic novels than this? Yes, for sure, 100%. But I wanted to let you guys know because as a parent, if you're handing this to your teenager,
Mm-hmm.
I would just be aware of that. That is going on in this book. And we have side characters who are secretly lesbian. They're teenagers. And while their story isn't graphic, there is a description of the attraction, the physical attraction, and kissing with those two. So, again, as a mom, stuff doesn't bother me as much if it's for an adult, but it is marketed towards, I would say, children or,
Mm-hmm.
teenagers. So, as a parent, I just want to do a better job of letting you know what your kids would be reading and if you're okay with that or not. So, anyway, that is The Rose Bargain by Sasha Peyton Smith.
Sounds like a pass for me. That's the thing that I struggle with starting series like when I know their series.
So they don't let you know sometimes, I think, for that reason.
I don't like it because I would rather wait. Like when Powerless came out, I still have it on my TBR, which I've heard mixed things, but I've been waiting until they're all out and they're almost all out. So I will be, getting to them once they're all out. I don't like to do one and then have
Um,
to wait.
I felt like this was very much a 3-star book for me.
Sound yeah,
Like
no.
I wouldn't
Is this a
honestly,
debut?
no.
Or oh, okay.
I don't know anything else she's written. It was okay. I was interested. I wanted to find out more, but I don't know if I just don't even like fairy stuff. That people say the description says Cruel Prince meets the selection.
Mm.
And I have read the selection. I really liked it, if I remember correctly. I did read Cruel Prince. I don't remember loving that book. I don't remember liking it very much. I'd never read on. So maybe I just don't like that type of fairy. I don't know if you've read any books like that, but this is like fairy. It's not like ACOTAR fairies, like fae. It's different. So anyway, it wasn't for me, really. I would just pass. I would just read the selection.
Okay. Yeah. I know I think you liked the selection more than I did. It was no, it was good. I liked the first one a lot. Did you read the whole series?
No, just the first one.
Oh.
I mean, you need
Oh.
to, but I did like that one a lot better than this one for sure.
Okay. Okay. For my next book, I am bringing Promise Me Sunshine.
Oh, I'm so excited about this.
And so it will be out by the time this episode comes out. So it's perfect. Okay, this is by Cara Bastone. She wrote Ready or Not, if you're familiar with that. And this book, okay, so we have Lenny. Lenny is a bit of a mess at the moment. Her best friend Lou recently passed away after a battle with cancer, and her death has left Lenny feeling completely lost. She's avoiding her concerned parents, the apartment that she shared with Lou, and the list of things that she's supposed to do to help her live again. The only thing that she can do is temporary babysitting gigs, and luckily she just landed a great one helping the overworked single mom Reese and her precocious daughter Ainsley. It's not perfect. Ainsley's uncle Miles always seems to be around, and he's kind of a huge jerk. But if Lenny acts like she has it all together, maybe no one else will notice that she's falling apart. Miles sees right through her, though, and it turns out he knows a lot about grief, and surprisingly, he offers her a proposition. He'll help her complete everything on her Live Again list if she'll help him connect with Ainsley and overcome his complicated relationship with Reese. She doubts that anything can fill the hole that Lou has left behind, but she begins to spend more time with Miles, and Lenny is surprised to discover that sometimes losing everything is only the first step to finding yourself and love again. So, obviously, this book, we're dealing with grief. So, I would say grief and cancer, those are heavy themes in this book. That's, I think, important to know going in. But equally important to know, I think, is that the way that this book handles those topics is not in a heavy manner, at least not to me. It felt obviously like those are very heavy topics, but overall, the tone of this book was so like joyful, hopeful. I was smiling like almost the entire time I was reading. Like it wasn't a downer for me personally, which is huge. I don't love downers. So I thought this was very, very heartwarming. A journey of healing. There was a sprinkle of romance. I would not say that this was primarily a romance. Primarily, this is Lenny. Lenny is like trying to, honestly, she's just drowning in grief at the beginning of the story, and she just doesn't know like how to take care of herself anymore. Like basic needs, like eating, sleeping, things like that. Like she is very much struggling with grief and depression. And Miles was so like grumpy, but he was so sweet. And so like his personality and her personality, they kind of reminded me a little bit of like Luke and Lorelai and like that those dynamics where Lenny, even in her depression, her personality was very sweet. You could still see her personality even through all of those stages of her grief. So she felt like a real person to me. I thought that this book just encapsulates what love is to me, like the way that Miles connects with her and burrows down into her grief with her, but also doesn't like leave her there. Like the perfect balance of knowing how to be there for somebody, but also how to recognize when they need a hand, when they need somebody to step in and be like, "Okay, you need help." And I think that the balance was like perfectly done. The one tiny grievance that I have, I felt like the spice in this book, it came late. Like I will say that. I almost thought we were not going to get any. Like it was far. But I felt like it was out of place, especially because I felt like this book was not even necessarily like about the romance. Like the romance is there, but like the primary point of the book to me personally felt like the grief journey. So I didn't think it needed it, which granted, I don't feel like I ever really think a book needs it, but it for this one I felt like it felt very out of place. I was skimming and some of the things I saw, I was like, "Oh my, too much." But that's just for me personally. Just a heads up. That's it. I thought that this was great. I was pleasantly surprised. I think the author did great. And after her first book and this book, I feel like she would be an author I would probably read whatever she writes at this point. And that is Promise Me Sunshine by Cara Bastone.
That's so exciting. I'm glad it was good. I do plan to read it. And I think that's kind of like the direction I'm going in like what I like. Like more of this, what would you call this? A literary fiction novel or
Pro-
just general fiction?
Women's fiction, maybe.
I hate that term, but yes.
I'm like, she's a woman.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really liked it. I've seen good things about it, great things about it, but I have seen some people saying, "Oh, this is not like romance." And I'm like, "But
Not rom-com.
I didn't
Yeah.
think that Ready or Not was
Oh,
either."
I loved it so much. I
Yeah,
loved
it
it.
gave me the same.
I'm like, I'm trying to rein myself in because I'm like looking at Rachel Gillig's new book. I'm like, oh, I want to buy that one. It's coming out in May. I was wrong. It's in May, so it's about to come out.
I looked it up and I saw
And
that.
I was like, and then this one, Cara Bastone, is that her name? And then
Hmm.
I'm like, oh, that comes out too. I need this one too. It's just too many books I
Th
want to
this
buy.
one, this is when I texted Hillary and I was like, do you have this on your list?" And I'm like, "You better
Yeah,
add it." It was very, very good.
I'm excited to read both of those books that we talked about. Okay, so my next book is The Favorites by Layne Fargo. Okay, this is a story of the world famous ice dancing couple Katarina Shaw and Heath Rocha's rise and fall in fame. Written in a documentary style very reminiscent of Taylor Jenkins Reid's, oh my God, Daisy Jones and the Six, we get to hear from many points of view. While the documentary is happening now, we repeatedly get flashbacks, so it definitely has a historical feeling. Forgive me, I know the 1990s aren't historical. I can hear you guys, but I feel like that's the vibe. I don't know what qualifies as historical. I think anything in the past, is historical.
Yeah.
So it was like in the late 80s to early 2000s. So to me, that's like 20, 35 years ago, 40 years ago. So I'm sorry. I don't want to offend anyone, but that's the vibe it had.
Mm.
I absolutely loved the writing style. It wasn't a short book, but it flew by. I could literally see this playing out in my mind's eye like a movie. I want to be clear that this is being billed as a romance, but I feel like that's deceptive. There is a romance in the story, and that's like a focus on of Katarina and Heath of their journey. But you'll be very disappointed if you go in expecting a romance, like this love story. I would build this under rich people behaving badly. That's what I would say this book is more about. There's so much drama, pettiness, and even crime. I have no idea if figure skating is this cutthroat, but it was so entertaining to be a fly on the wall. But keep in mind that if you need to like your characters in books, I would definitely just pass on this one. The characters all make horrible and hurtful decisions. They are very bad to each other. It wasn't just like all of them. They were all very bad to each other. So there is some character growth, like I'm holding up like a centimeter,
Mm.
but it's so little that it's not even worth it if you're going in like, oh, they start bad, but it's like a redemptive story. No, like it's not a redemptive story. Again, Daisy Jones and the Six is a very good comparison to this. The writing style, the characters, they are just as likable as those characters. So, like I say this for Hannah.
Hmm.
Like I don't like if you need to like them, you will. I don't think you'll like it. If you go into it thinking, I don't care if I like them, I'm just here to be to watch the drama unfold, then I think you'll enjoy it more. So, I don't personally need to like the characters. I don't need a main romance. So, I really love the book. It was like watching The Bachelor or a juicy documentary. It makes you feel better about your own life. That is for sure. So, this is Closed Door. I just wanted to let you guys know. I feel like knowing now it's not a romance that's a little bit more
Hmm.
obvious, but it was not obvious to me. I thought it was going to be really spicy. It's not. So, just so you know, that is The Favorites by Layne Fargo
I think that one's coming for me. I don't know.
for book club.
Yeah.
It's a
I
good discussion. I don't know. I could see you going either way. If you go in knowing these people are terrible, then you
I
might
don't
be
know.
But I can see you the whole time texting me being like, these people are the worst.
I mean, everything you said is everything I typically don't like Daisy
Yeah.
Jones, Taylor Jenkins Reid,
Unlikable characters.
unlikable characters, crime, like behavior, like no.
Yeah.
So I would not pick this up if I'm not coerced.
Yeah, for sure. Okay, so those are our recent reads. Let's talk about our deep dive or our topic of the week, which is just a game, bookish would you rather. So, do you want to talk about your question box?
Okay, so if you're not following us on Instagram, I would say go follow us on Instagram. We have it linked in our show notes at the very bottom, and you can follow our podcast page, me and Hillary's Bookstagram accounts. And I've been trying more often to get you guys involved because it's more fun this way if we can all, not just me and Hillary talking to each other, but you guys also. So a ton of you guys submitted really funny would you rathers. And yeah, so we're just gonna jump in.
Yeah, better
Um,
than we would have.
I know, even some of these are so funny. I'm like, did this happen to you?
We're like, is you okay? Okay,
Okay,
go ahead.
all right. Would you rather read 15 minutes every day or 4 hours on only Saturdays?
Me,
Yeah.
I don't know. I feel like I do
15
read 15
minutes?
minutes. I feel like that's what I do. I'm like,
Only?
yeah, no, I don't read I don't read. I don't have a ton of time to read on weekdays. Yeah. So I'm
Oh,
like, that's normal. 4 hours is a treat though. Um,
oh my
4 hours.
goodness.
I'll take 4 hours. Uninterrupted reading time. Yeah.
I would probably do that too. I feel like 15 minutes every day. 15 minutes is not even enough for like a chapter. So I think I wouldn't even get invested. I would probably go for the 4 hours.
I think I get 15 minutes every day, so 4 hours seems like a really treat. Okay, I'll read the next one, I guess.
Okay.
Would you rather have to reread your least favorite book every month? This is terrible. Or never be able to reread any book ever again? Submitted by Tracy. Tracy. I'm trying to think my least favorite. What is my least favorite book? When the Moon Hatched is what I'm thinking of at the
And that's
moment.
long.
Yeah, no, I'd rather never reread any book again. That's fine.
Yeah, me too. I would
What's your
rather.
least favorite book? Bunny?
Yeah, but no, there was a Christmas murder mystery book I read that I was 1 star, and that would be one of them
Oh, do you
too.
remember that book? What was that book? It was the guy, my first NetGalley book, the guy and girl with the dog on the cover. Do you know
Oh
what I'm talking
yeah,
about?
yeah, yeah, yeah. The one I
Oh
see
my
at
God.
the store, the bookshops every time.
No,
That,
I'd
yeah.
rather never reread
Some
anything
people
again.
don't reread, and so yeah, I mean, that's what I would do.
It
Never
would be
read.
sad to never read
I
Harry Potter again,
know.
but I can't do it. I can't reread that every month.
Every month. Okay,
Yeah,
next.
no.
Would you rather your child scribbled in your favorite book or drop the book in the bathtub? This was submitted by Susie, and I need to know if this has happened to you, Susie.
I would rather Noelle scribble on my book.
Me too. I mean,
She has.
yeah, I was
I'm
gonna
like,
say
she's done
they've
it,
done that.
so.
Yeah. Yep. Because if it's in the tub, it's just ruined.
I mean, honestly, things happening to my books, I don't know if we've talked about this, it doesn't bother me that much. Like if people have returned my food and they're like, "Oh my God, I
Your
spilled
food.
food, yeah, on it." And I'm like, "I don't
You
care."
said people have returned my food.
Oh, sorry. People have returned my books with splashes of food.
That is
And
disgusting.
I'm like, "It doesn't bother me."
It bothers me.
Well, I'm like, did you like the book? They're like, "Oh, I loved it." I'm like, I mean, it's fine. Books are meant to be used. It doesn't bother me. But dropping it in the bathtub is ruined. You can't, it's trash now. Which
Oh,
I feel like I have done that. Have we? I feel like I've done that.
yeah, you
Do you
have done
remember?
that.
Yeah, because I'm like, mom had us like ironing the pages, trying to get the pages. Yeah, so I've done that as well. I'd rather it be colored on though.
All right. Would
Okay,
you rather what?
go ahead.
Would you rather have dinner with Stephanie Meyer, who is the author of Twilight, or J.K. Rowling, the author of Harry Potter?
I mean, I think I admire J.K. Rowling infinitely more, but I think I'd be so terrified.
Me too. I'd be
So
too
I think she is
scared.
definitely she's too good for me. So I'd
But
probably have to
Stephanie
say Stephanie
isn't.
Meyer. No.
I
I'm like,
don't know.
Stephanie and I'm like, Stephanie, what were you thinking with Midnight Sun? Tell me. J.K. Rowling, I can't ever question. I'm like, you're perfect. So
Here's my fun fact. I don't want to meet anybody famous ever.
yeah, I don't either,
Ever.
but
That's my nightmare. Like people have asked me, "Oh, what would you do if you met Jonas Brothers?" And I was like, "I would not want to. I would have a complete panic attack and be like, hide." So yeah, but if I had to pick, I'd probably have the same logic as Hillary.
yeah, and I'd be like, tell me everything. Tell me what you're doing next. With J.K. Rowling, I'd be like, hi, goodbye. Yeah, can't do it. Okay. Would you rather read only poetry or only philosophy? Me, philosophy, for sure.
Neither. I would take none.
You can't pick neither.
Then
That's not an option.
philosophy, I guess. I hate poetry so much. All right. Would you rather be a main character in The Hunger Games or in Harry Potter?
Harry Potter,
I know.
obviously.
I was like, The
Hunger
Hunger
Games,
Games?
why would I want to do that? To be
I
killed. We know I'd be the first to go.
I would no, I would
They're
hope
all
I would be
12
the
and they would
first.
kill me.
I would not. I feel like I would be like hunted down like in the middle, like trying
No,
to hide.
I'd be the first one on the screen. No thanks. I'm going to Harry
I would
Potter.
want to be the one that jumps off the disc and blows up like before they start, you know? Like the
You're like,
false start.
ready, set, poof. You're like, you go.
No.
Okay. Would you rather only read the same one romance book for the rest of your life or be able to read nonfiction books about politics? Me, politics. Someone said that as a joke, I guess, but I was like, I like politics.
Uh I guess one I don't know. I guess I don't think I'd want to read nothing. Here I go again. Neither. I guess one romance book. I have no joy in politic books. I don't want that.
I don't either, but I don't think it's that fun, but at least it's new stuff to read. I mean, I was the kid that would read like the shampoo bottles in the bathroom if
Dumb.
nothing else is to read. So I'm like, I'll read it, whatever.
Okay. Would you rather have the last three chapters of your next fantasy book missing or never read Christmas romance again?
That's easy. Never read Christmas romance again.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I would rather have the last three chapters of my
Why?
fan
What's the point?
because fantasy they end on a cliffhanger anyway, and then they have book two. I'll be fine. Like, are you kidding me? I would not
No.
ever give up Christmas romance.
Yeah, Christmas romance. Goodbye.
I'm like the
Easy.
entire joy of my life. No,
That's funny. I was like, oh, easy. Who would pick this?
no, that's insane.
That's funny. Okay. Would you rather be trapped in a dark romance, whatever the other option is, oh my God, or a crime thriller? You could be any character. Yeah, crime thriller for sure.
Okay, let's think this through though, because a dark romance.
No, dark romance. It's not a
No, no,
spicy romance. I'm like,
no.
spicy romance, sure, that one.
Oh
The
my.
dark romance. Well, what? Not anyone has to read about my life.
Okay,
I'm like, I'll live. But a dark romance is like, I'm like, what are we doing? Tying people up? Beating me
no,
up for
no,
fun?
no,
No.
no. Listen, things that are considered dark romance, I don't know that this question is talking about this, but I have literally seen like a Bond of Briars listed as a dark
Oh,
romance
I'm sorry, Erin.
or like One Dark
I don't want to
Window
live through that either, though.
or
No, no
Heartless Hunt.
thanks.
No, I don't think Heart. Okay.
Heartless Hunter?
No, I'm
No.
just stretching, okay? I don't want to be in a crime thriller is what it comes
So
down.
Hannah's going to the dark romance, gonna
I
take her chances, and
maybe
I'm gonna be any character. I'm gonna be the police in the crime thriller. Yeah, for sure. I'm
that
not
made
gonna be
me
the victim.
like that made me uncomfy. Okay.
That's funny.
Would you rather only have access to books 20 years or older or only books that came out in 2024?
20 years or older. 2024 was there's some
Mm,
good things came out, but they were few and far between. I've said this, so yeah, 20 years ago. Or older, or older. Lots to choose from.
I don't know.
Twilight's in there.
Yeah, okay. I would do 20 years and older, I guess. I reluctantly.
Only 2024 though. That's it. 1 year.
Yeah, I know. I know.
And it was not a good, not a great publishing year.
And then that's only that year, so like trilogies, you wouldn't get none of those either. So yeah,
Mm-mm.
I'd
So,
have to
and but
do
then
old.
next year we would get more, right? Because it kept being 20 years. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, that's the loophole.
You just got to delete Bookstagram so you don't know
Mm,
what's coming out. You're just
mm.
like, this is it. Okay. Would you rather never listen to an audiobook or never get to use a Kindle again? Easy.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
no,
easy.
never listen to an audiobook. I'm like, I barely listen now,
Me
so
too. I'm like, don't threaten me with a good time.
I'm like,
No.
please, please let me never listen to one again. No.
Would you rather have a sticker on the front of your book that doesn't come off or a real person on the cover?
Oh,
A sticker that won't come off because I don't
I
I
say
don't care.
I say a sticker, but the book with the favorites that has a person with a real person.
Oh yeah.
But I feel like that's not what they're talking about. I know what they're talking about. It's like this
Like
man without a shirt on or something. No, I would or a smiling couple like in the snow.
yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
I
I don't
I'd
really
rather have
care.
I don't like I'd rather have the sticker that doesn't come off. That bothers me less. The ones that bother me, not the fake stickers, those don't bother me as much as the real stickers that say they come off and then they don't. And then they're left in pieces all over your book.
Mm-hmm. You need to
Or
put
you have
some
to get out like,
coconut oil.
yeah, no, I those are the worst. So
Yeah.
I'll just take the sticker, I guess. Okay, would you rather this one's the one that made me laugh. I'm like, who did this? Would you rather be married to Tamlin or Dane? So if you don't know, Tamlin's from Fourth Wing. I'm sorry, opposite. Tamlin's from Agatar and Dane's from Fourth Wing. Go, Hannah.
Um, Probably Tamlin. I don't have I
Oh my
don't
God.
I don't know that I have a big problem with either one of them.
Oh man, that's like a whole deep dive. That's funny.
Okay,
I would say Dane for sure.
I don't know though. I haven't read book 3, so I think that Dane
Mm-hmm.
got improved. I
Yes,
don't
that's what I say. I don't want to
yeah.
spoil anything.
Let's just say book 1. I mean,
Well, book 1,
book 1,
obviously, then
Tamlin
I
or
would say
Dane.
Tamlin, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah,
Even though he's a
see?
wimp. He's a
Thank
wimp.
you. That's
No,
true.
I'm
That's
back to
true.
Dane.
I think I'm back to. That's true.
Dane is flawed for sure, but Tamlin is a wimp. So,
Yeah, probably Dane, I guess. Okay,
Dane, you could be like, shut up. Stop talking that way.
and then the and then the next one is, would you rather be married to Zayden or Rhysand?
I already know, Hannah. Go ahead.
Rhysand,
Yeah, I was gonna say
obviously.
Zayden.
Oh, easy choice.
I would say Zayden for
I
sure.
feel like we have like different answers for like,
All of them.
yeah. Zayden is good too.
I say Zayden because I get it that Rhysand is like perfect. Perfect. Rhysand is like perfect.
He's
But
not.
well, presented as perfect. He switches. Here's my theory. I'm like, here I go on my soapbox. He's different, and we see this different side of him. Only do we see that in Silver Flames
Mm,
from and I guess oh I can't say the rest. That the rest is a major spoiler. Silver Flames for sure. We see from
mm-hmm,
Nessa's perspective, you're like, oh, Rhysand is like controlling and
mm, mm-hmm,
like overprotective too. Like it's funny
mm-hmm,
because he was criticizing Tamlin for that stuff. But I mean, but he's still a good guy. He's not like a villain or anything, but he's still a
mm-hmm.
good guy. But he has a lot of issues. Xaden, I would say, is more secure in himself than Rhysand. And I gravitate towards Xaden's personality much more in real life. But Xaden has a lot of not necessarily internal issues. Xaden's facing a lot of external problems right now. A lot. A lot. So I don't know. It's in for a hard road.
You're like, either way, difficult life.
Yeah, a difficult life ahead.
Okay, would you rather be in charge of naming books or choosing the cover art?
Oh, I don't know. Neither one. Naming books or cover art. I guess naming books. I can't. If I had to design it myself, it would look like trash.
Yeah,
I
I
could
agree with
approve
that.
it or not approve it, but if I had to actually design it, it would look like we'd have like a heart on the
Or like
cover,
if you
and it's
had
like,
to direct it, like if you had to say, okay, I
oh,
want this, I want that, I want that. I don't think I
maybe I don't
could.
know. I think maybe I could do that because I had some ideas for the Twilight covers, remember? And I was
Mm-hmm.
like, oh, I think they should do it like this and whatever.
Yeah,
And if I had to actually draw it myself, though, then no, I'm out. Okay. Would you rather have every book you read be 3 stars or every book you read is either 1 or 5? Me, 1 or 5, for sure.
same.
Love or hate, that's fine. That's like basically, that's really close to what I have now.
I know. Because the middle is I feel the middle is typically what I would DNF. I don't know. I would be fine with the 1 and 5.
I'm like, all books like the Rose Bargain. No.
Yeah, I would not be happy.
Yeah.
I would not like reading because I'd like to read because of the 5 stars, like the ones that you do find. So yeah, I would not want to read just 3 stars. Okay, would you rather never buy books again or have to buy 5 books every time you went to the bookstore? What is this? Hillary asking Hannah.
That's funny that you end up
It's
reading that
funny
one.
because I was like, I don't remember this one. Okay, would you rather never buy books again or have to buy 5 books every time? I would rather have to buy 5 books every time I go to the bookstore, maybe because I don't go. I feel like I've gone to the bookstore once in the last year and a half.
It's funny. I put this specifically for Hannah because every time she goes to the bookstore, she's like, "Oh, I love all this stuff," and then leaves with nothing.
A sticker. Do you remember
Yeah.
that?
So that's why I put it for her. I was like, Hannah's gonna really struggle with this one. I think I thought most people would be like, "Oh, buy 5 books," but I was like, Hannah's gonna be like, "I don't know."
It's because I never go to the bookstore, so I'm like, okay, but I don't think I could buy 5. Yeah, I don't know. I would really struggle with that.
Yeah.
What is
Would you
this?
rather? These are mine. That's why Hannah's like, we've got into my questions. Would you rather be able to only read standing up or only lying down in bed?
Lying down in bed. That is my life.
And all the way flat in bed, not sitting up at all?
Yeah. I mean, not on my back.
Yeah, on your back, head back. All the
You're like, no pillow.
No, no sitting up in bed. All the way flat on your back in bed
Well,
or
standing
standing
up.
up.
Standing up. You're like, would you rather be reading a book in the shower with it on?
That's why I didn't come up with all of these. These are like my level of
Which would you pick? I'm assuming standing up.
I honestly don't know. I'd probably standing up if I had to pick, but I thought they're both pretty bad choices.
Yeah, they are bad.
Okay, but okay, this is a for real one. Not the next one. This is an extra one. I meant to ask you because I always see you pick on these like templates on Instagram. Would you rather read in bed or on your couch? And I feel like you always select in bed.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't
true.
I don't read
That's
in
true.
bed very much. That's interesting. I pick my couch every time.
No. Okay, it depends. If I were like at, there are other couches I could think I'd rather be on, but mine, no. I'd rather be in my bed.
But you don't get tired? I do.
Yes, that's why I fall asleep. I'm like, boom, out. But I'm more cozy in my bed, and that's where the cats will come. Like if I go read in bed, they all know and they all come. And so it's great. I love it. And also, normally like Josh will be watching, like playing a video game, or like he's been watching the Alien and Predator, I don't know what, creepy movies, but there's like a million of them. So he's been watching them. And so we're in the same room, and I guess we just watch TV in bed at night. But yeah, so in bed, that's where I want to read. Okay, snowy day reading or rainy day reading?
What do you pick? I say rainy just because we're experiencing the snowy right now and it is pretty. But I love the sound of rain personally, which I'm jealous because I feel like you get those a lot more than we do.
Yeah, I would pick snow
That's funny.
because when it snowed in Houston. I had the window open, not like the window, but like
I was like,
the shades open, and I moved the chair and I was like right by the window. reading with the snow.
That's
I
funny.
love the snow. But yes, rainy day is what I have almost every day.
Yeah, that's my dream, my life. Okay, so let's talk about the short list, I guess. That was fun. We should do that one again.
Yeah, that was fun. Okay, on my short list, I have The River Enchanted by Rebecca Ross.
Oh yeah, you know what? I could have ended up reading that with you. Do
Do
you
it!
start that next? I don't have it yet.
Yeah, it's a duology, and duologies are my love language right now. So, yes, I'm excited. I am buddy reading this with Renee, and neither one of us know anything about it other than it is by Rebecca Ross. So, yep, I'm excited. I'm excited, but I think because I know nothing about it, I'm like very just I have no idea what I'm in for.
Okay, so Hannah told me she was reading this and she was like, "You should read it with us." And I said, "I can't because
Oh
I
yeah.
have." So my short list for today was Rebel Witch by Kristen Ciccarelli, which is funny because at the time of that we're recording it, it was supposed to be here already. And I think it's because of all the weather and the ice and stuff. It is delayed for days.
For
And so,
days?
yeah. And I can't even
No.
cancel it because I was like, just forget it. Cancel it and I'll go buy it like at Target or something. I can't. They said if it doesn't come by what is it? If it doesn't come by Thursday night, Friday, I can request a refund. So I'm like, cool, cool. Like it's not a big deal, but I was very excited to read that book. I thought I was going to start it today. This is why you don't take off work for pre-orders, guys, because this happened
Yeah.
for other people too for like other books. So, but that is on my list. I was excited to say like, "Oh my god, it's going to be here. I'm going to read it as soon as we get off." But that's not going to happen. So,
Yeah,
eventually.
I've always wondered how people do that. They like request days off, and I'm like, how do you guarantee that the book is gonna get there? And like mine, anytime a book is coming or a package, it comes at night. So I'm like, I
Mhm.
would have to get the day. There's no
The
way.
next day. I mean, that wouldn't even work for this. I don't know. I think well, Amazon told me when I ordered it, which keep in mind, I ordered this in May just so I could have it now.
Yeah, they never come on time.
But they're like, it will be there. It will be there Tuesday, guaranteed. And then I'm like,
Hmm.
I want my money back. No, it's okay. It's really a first world problem, but it's funny that you buy it there thinking I'll have it immediately, and then I think I could have just bought it from Target and done a pickup, but that's not always a guarantee because some books they sell out or they don't get that many or not at all or I don't know.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's not a big deal, but I am excited to read that soon. This week, hopefully.
Yeah, for sure. Because I wanted to read it as soon as I could because I didn't want to hear anything else. I didn't want to hear or see anything else about it
Yeah,
until
I've been
I read
bypassing
it.
all the reviews because I'm like, I don't want to know anything at all. Nothing.
And that's why I was like, I don't even, that's why I said I wanted us to do an episode about it because I didn't want to bring it and talk about it until, like, I wanted to talk about it after you've read it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Well, hopefully soon. So, anyway, I feel like this is where we should do an outro. We're like, we have nothing to say. We finished our thoughts, guys.
Last time, Josh, because I'm recording in my closet, and Josh, he can hear me sometimes. And so I was like, I'm done. Walked in the room, and he's like, that's how you end your podcast? I was like, what? And he's like, you literally just like, okay, bye. And I was like, I mean, yeah, we have an outro, but
We've done
no.
it so many times. I feel like there's no other option. Like anything else would be weird now.
Yeah,
I'm like, let's just be real. That's how we are. We're like, okay, bye.
yeah, that's all. There's nothing else to say. So,
That's all, folks.
bye.
If you've made it this far and didn't add this episode to your DNF pile, thanks a bunch.
That brings us to the end of this week's episode for the Don't You Two Read podcast. We hope you enjoyed hearing about our recently read books and hopefully getting to know us better as we begin this podcast journey with you guys.
We will be including timestamps in the description on every episode so you can check there for books or products that we mentioned in today's episode.
Be sure to tune in to our next episode when we will be chatting about all things books. Don't forget to follow us on Instagram at Don't You Two Read Podcast, and you can find me at Hannah Reads.
And I'm at Hilary Reads. If you enjoyed today's episode, would you take a moment to follow us? You can also rate and review us wherever you listen. And as always, please share this with all of your bookish friends.
Thank you so much for joining us today. Until next time, we hope you have a magical week filled with 5-star reads.